Good morning and welcome back to Coffee Chats with Chett. Have you ever felt scared or nervous or anxious around something to do with your job, your career, or your work? This is a really normal feeling, particularly when it comes to doing something that you've never done before. And so in this week's video, I want to share with you 5 things that you can do to help get you through this tough time. First of all, I just wanted to start by saying you're not alone. This is something that we all feel and we all experience, whether or not someone will admit it or not. And I certainly have experienced this throughout my career, and heck, I still experience it in my career. And I find that those emotions tend to come up when I'm doing something that I've never done before. And so when I reflect back on my career, that feeling of being scared and anxious really came up the first time that I led an innovation project in a large corporation. It certainly crept up the first time that I became a leader of a team. It crept up during my first senior executive presentation. It certainly crept up during my first board presentation. And it certainly crept up during my first enterprise-wide initiative. So this is something that we all experience, we all feel. And I'm going to share with you how to work through that. So the first thing, and I'll speak from experience. So when this feeling creeps up inside of me, the number one thing that I do is remind myself that this is my path to better. And so I remind myself that these feelings are coming up because it is something that I really, really care about and really want to make sure that I do well. And I remind myself and I reflect on the various different times in my career where I have experienced this. And once I got to the other side, it was an incredible way for me to grow, to learn, to skill up, and ultimately become better and stronger and start to move towards that next version of myself. The second thing that I remind myself is that growth is when what was hard today becomes easy tomorrow. One of the best things in the world is when you get to a place and you're doing something with ease and you remind yourself, oh my gosh, this used to be super hard for me. This used to be something that made me scared or anxious or nervous. And so really the only way to get better and to experience that growth comes with multiple reps that you put in and continuing to show up and face that discomfort, face that fear, and get to the other side of it. And before you know it, the hard will become the new easy. And like I said, it's the best experience in the world. And just like going to the gym, you got to put your reps in. You got to put your reps in to become stronger. And the stronger you become, the easier it gets. So number 3, action and preparation. And so I've trained myself that when I start to feel scared or anxious or nervous about something, the best way to combat that is through action. And so what do I mean by that? So action comes in the form of preparation. So if I'm feeling anxious or nervous about something, that means that I can combat that by putting some extra reps in around preparing to really make sure that I'm feeling confident about what I'm doing, what I'm presenting, or what I'm leading. And the second thing is exercise. When I have that additional energy pent up inside of me, whether it's anxiety or nervousness or being scared, it's a great reminder for me to go for a walk, go for a run, a bike ride, something to expend that additional energy to make sure that when it does come time for me to show up and do whatever I am nervous about, that additional energy has left so that I can show up in a really calm and poised way and really demonstrate my capability. Number 4, if I'm really struggling with something, there is a technique that I use called the worst case scenario. And essentially what I do leveraging that technique is I think about the worst case scenario that could unfold with whatever I'm doing or feeling anxious about. So for example, say I'm leading an enterprise-wide project and it completely fails. So worst case scenario there is I'm blamed for everything. and I'm fired and exited from the company. And so in that case, well, I have a really robust resume. I have skills in a wide variety of different things. I have a strong network and credibility in marketplace. So I'm really confident that I would either be able to get employed fairly easily, or number two, spin up my own business because, hey, I've done that before and I have a lot of entrepreneurial DNA. And so what that helps me do is take a deep breath and realize that, hey, failure is okay. Worst case scenario, I'm still going to be okay. My family's still going to be okay. And that provides me with a lot of relief in terms of knowing that no matter what, things are going to be okay, even in the worst case scenario. And number 5 comes from this book called No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz, where Dr. Schwartz shares a new psychological theory around the internal family systems model, which is really cool. And so this number 5 is called the internal voices in your head. And so, when you're experiencing something that you're feeling scared of, you have all of these voices in your head, either telling you to be worried about something, to be scared, or maybe even that you're not good enough to do something. What Dr. Schwartz highlights in this book and through this model is that those voices are actually all younger versions of yourself. And so the theory basically says that throughout your life, you experience, like every single other human, various different traumatic situations. And every single time you experience one of those traumatic scenarios, part of you is formed. And that part of you continues to live within yourself and essentially becomes one of the voices in your head, because that voice is wanting to make sure that you are safe, to make sure that you are protected. And so what you can start to do is actually build a relationship with those voices in your head as your highest self. And so if those voices start to appear, you can just let them know, like, hey, we are safe. We are going to be okay. I got this. And immediately, once you start to develop a relationship with your younger versions of yourself and those internal voices, you can actually start to feel the stress leave your body. You can start to feel far more calm and confident and connected. And so if you haven't used that technique before, I definitely encourage you to try. Okay, now it's time for your coaching of the week. So please grab out your writing tool of choice and let's get to work. So your coaching question this week is, I want you to reflect on and write down something in your job, your work, or your career that is making you feel scared or anxious right now. Write it down. And then I want you to rewatch this video and take yourself through those 5 steps and continue to journal and write down your takeaways. And then at the end of that reflection, I want you to just get present with your mind and body and just reflect on how you're feeling. And my hope is that through this exercise, you will feel a lot of that anxiety, that fear, that nervousness start to leave your body so that you are left in a way that you are feeling connected, grounded, and super confident to take on whatever is in front of you. That's all for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this video provided you with any value at all, the best form of feedback for me is if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm on a mission to help you and everyone else around you chase their potential, because I believe that when we all show up as the best versions of ourselves, we can create a better and brighter world and a better and brighter future for everyone. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.